Hello, movie nerds, and welcome to Cinematic Sarcastic, the podcast that talks all things movies and television. I'm Natalie, and I'm your host. On today's episode, I wanted to switch things up a little bit. I know I've been covering the Obi-Wan Kenobi series and haven't really been super enjoying that one, but I felt a little guilty because I love Ewan McGregor, I love Hayden Christensen, and I thought I might just cover my favorite films from them. And I was thinking I might just turn this into its own little series, do my favorite films of different Star Wars actors or different actors who've been, playing Star Wars parts. So today, I thought we might start with Hayden Christensen, and I wanted to talk about a 2007 film that he played in called Awake. Now, I do not mean the same title movie that came out in 2021. It seems like a lot of the reviews for the 2007 film are really reviews for the 2021 version of the film. I really wish that filmmakers would stop naming movies the exact same thing as other movies. It makes it very confusing. So definitely I mean the 2007 version. That one stars Hayden Christensen, Lena Olin, Jessica Alba, I believe, is in it, quite a few other people, Terrence Howard. So Awake is really this movie about Hayden Christensen. He plays this character named Clay. He's very well off, but he has a heart condition which has put him on the transplant list. He requires having a heart transplant at some point. So he meets Jessica Alba, who at the beginning of the film he doesn't really think has anything to do with him. He just happens to meet her somewhere, and she plays Sam, and they hit it off, they get engaged, and coincidentally, as soon as him and Jessica Alba get engaged, his beeper goes off and he now has a heart that's available for him to get his transplant. His friend, because he has been ill, he has like a best friend that works in the medical field, and his best friend is a doctor, and that is played by Terrence Howard. And his mom is played by Lena Olin. Lena Olin, you might remember, she's played in Chocolat, opposite of Johnny Depp. I think she also played in another film with Johnny Depp, The Ninth Gate, I believe she was in. She's absolutely an amazing actress and stunning. So Hayden Christensen goes in to have his heart transplant, and basically the entire point of the film, of why it's called Awake, is when they put him under anesthesia, the anesthesia doesn't work correctly, and he is essentially paralyzed, but he is aware of what's happening. He can hear everyone talking around him, and sadly, during this surgery, he can actually feel everything as well. So the majority of the film is really, I don't know if Hayden Christensen's character is meant to be a ghost. It kind of reminds me a little bit of his consciousness or his sense of self that really is kind of what he's playing throughout the film. And it reminds me a lot of Bruce Willis from The Sixth Sense, where, he's acting, but no one else is really acting opposite him. Like, no one is interacting with him except for the little boy. So Awake is very similar to that, in that Hayden Christensen cannot really interact with anyone around him. No one knows that he's there. That's why I'm not sure if he's meant to be a ghost or not, because he can talk to someone and they have no clue he's there. Like, he's essentially alone. And this is really what was the turning point for me in Hayden Christensen is a good actor to Hayden Christensen is now a great actor. I think that having to act with absolutely no other actors, to cue off of, you're not reading lines together or anything like that. I think that takes a tremendous amount of skill. And for this film, which I think 80 to 90% of Awake is really just Hayden Christensen driving the storyline completely by himself, not being able to really interact with any of the other actors. And there's other stuff that goes along, when it's not in focus for him. So he essentially kind of discovers this plot, and that's what the whole movie is based around. There are a lot of twists and turns to it, which I absolutely love. It's an interesting film. I think it's enjoyable. He's essentially uncovering all of this stuff, and you get to see kind of the backstory of how this whole transplant kind of came to be and who's involved and why, why things are happening. And I think it's just one of those films that maybe didn't get a lot of attention or perhaps wasn't received very well when it did come out, because I don't remember it being like a giant blockbuster hit or anything like that. But it's one of those films that I would consider a hidden gem. It is definitely worth the watch for sure to me, and definitely one of those movies that opened my eyes to Hayden Christensen as, a force to be reckoned with in the acting world. And so I'm extremely excited to see him back doing Obi-Wan, because I'm hopeful that he will branch off of Obi-Wan and start doing some other things. But Awake, I think for sure, is one of those films that if you want more Hayden Christensen, definitely go see it. It is worth the watch. So have you seen Awake? Leave me a comment and let me know what you thought of it. Subscribe if you want to join the Movie Nerd family, and I hope to see you in the next episode.